Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. This is me, Abu Bakr Dilawar. I welcome you to all our latest episode of Founders Kahani. So as you all know that in Founders Kahani, we always invite amazing startup founders so that you can get your inspiration to start your entrepreneurship journey, to start your startup. So today we also have a very amazing startup. I think she has the most amazing kahani that I ever heard. So please welcome all the way from Europe, Halta. How are you?
I'm super fine, thank you. And super honored to be here and to share the story.
We are honored to have you on our podcast. So, if we talk about what's your kahani?
It is a platform. We consider ourselves a profit with purpose because, as everybody probably knows, it is super important to spread learning. And it's reducing poverty, it's increasing wealth, it's the part of reducing inequality and injustice. It's what drives sustainable growth. It leads to better health. So it's all the good stuff you actually need is by sharing all the good stories, making sure that you learn from peers that has knowledge that you need. And it doesn't matter whether it's products you need to know how to operate so you guarantee long product life, but it's also like onboarding. Because I mean, if you start a new job and you actually know what you're doing, you go home smiling. And when you smile to your wife and kids, they smile to the dog, and then the dog doesn't bite the neighbor, and already there, you have good vibes going everywhere.
Okay, that's really nice. That's really nice. So, when you started this startup?
We started in 2017 and we've been working ever since. It takes a long time to make we're what you would consider a video LMS. So we take stuff from YouTube, the small bite-sized videos, but then because it's a white label one, we don't have all the ads and all the other stuff. But building all the databases for making micro credentials and stuff like that takes a long time. Actually, if I'd known how long it took, we would probably, have started somewhere different. But on the other hand, it's super fun.
That's really nice. That's really nice. So, how you get this idea that you wanted to do this startup and how it came into life?
I have an industrial background. So actually, my great grandfather was an entrepreneur. He founded
Okay.
a tobacco company. And then my grandfather, we merged with two other family tobacco companies in 1961. So 55 years ago, my grandfather was out of a job. So he got the option. He'd been traveling in the US buying up tobacco leaves, and he bought this extruder machine and built a plastic factory. We've sold them, which meant that we can actually do what we want to. So if you could do anything in the world that you wanted to work with, because we're not very good at sitting down doing nothing. So if you could do anything in the world and you could solve any problem you wanted to, which one would you go about solving? And about 10 years ago, we were at something called the Family Business Network it's a world-spanning organization where family-owned companies meet up. And there was this activist workshop about how we could solve, as family businesses, could solve the world crisis in any way possible. And we were sitting at this round table discussing with quite a few others what the biggest problem in the world was. And to be honest, I was very ignorant at the time. So I thought it was something like clean drinking water or child mortality. And then this Argentinian rancher with a big cowboy hat looks at me and he's like, "You don't get it, do you? And you should. You're from Scandinavia. That's where you've got it. You guys, you don't even see it, do you? Education. That's what the world needs, education. And you guys, you should be forced to go out there and you should educate people. It doesn't matter what you educate them in, but you should educate people because that's what the world needs." And that was at the back of my mind for a long time. And then by queer coincidence, it turned out that one of my husband's old colleagues had this idea that he wanted to make like a YouTube for learning, but where you had the micro credentials, this lightweight learning. So it wasn't, all about coding long sessions, but enabling any subject matter expert and actually sharing the right knowledge to the right people. So avoiding HR and other parts that normally, end up being responsible for learning. And the problem about them is very often they're very good with bookkeepings and stuff, but they're actually not very good with training. So trying to move it out to the subject matter experts. And I mean, nowadays when we have a phone, I mean, anybody can record a video, which is why YouTube is so popular. But the problem is you don't have the micro credential to show that you actually gained knowledge. And the worst part is actually you can't communicate back. You can't give feedback back. You can only comment stuff. So that's what we've tried to build into our platform, and then without all the ad selling, because we're not too happy about the American approach to data, big data selling.
Okay, okay, that's
So
really
we
nice.
donate. So that's why we have this approach where we sell the platform to companies, and then we donate the platform to NGOs that are trying to make a difference.
That's
So we have a big news coming up that we've just teamed up with an organization called Impulse for Women, based out of Spain, but it's 22,000 female founders trying to to make it, and all the training that they will receive going forward will be happening, or at least the online part of the training will be taking place on uQualio, so we can get more female entrepreneurs. We're a very small breed out there.
That's really nice. That's really nice. So when you shared that your family has a tobacco company back in days, so the thing that came to your mind that I guess you are very rich.
No, not anymore. I used all the money on learning platforms, but so not so much anymore. But it is possible. I wouldn't have to work elsewhere if I wasn't working here. But you know what the problem is? If you really make it as an entrepreneur, you know what the biggest problem is?
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
probably sell the company, and you know what then happens?
The thing that you are not doing anything.
Exactly. And you know what? Some of us are not very good at just leaning back. And there are, limits to how much rice you can sit and eat, and how much time you can spend with your kids. So then you would want to do something again. And then you just have to get another good idea and start doing something else. So, I mean, that's the problem about selling. It gives you a little
Yeah.
bit more money that you can then spend on things, but it's making meaningful things with life. That's the really important part in life.
Yeah, exactly. A good entrepreneur cannot sit for a long time.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
that's why we do a global video learning platform, and then I actually own 2 farms on the side, where we do biodiversity and making sure that we get way more insects while producing food as well. So it's this combination of local and global at the same time.
that's really nice. I think you are doing such a great stuff. Like farming and the education are two different things, and you are basically doing all the things very effectively.
But actually, it's not that different. I mean, you sow seeds also when you do tech stuff. You go out, you make inbound marketing, you spread the word of what you're doing, and then that's how things starts to grow. It's like planting crops. You have to give them the right water, and then if you're really lucky, you'll bump into somebody at the same time who needs your product as the first one. Then you realize that, okay, now you need a little bit of fertilizer. You need, to change a little bit, maybe pivot a little bit, or maybe you find out that the products you're sowing on your land doesn't really work. So you need to pivot and make something different that somebody would actually buy. So it's kind of the same thing. But it's really nice having something that's both physical, where you can actually see the corn grow, and at the same time or the crops grow, and you can at the same time, you sit in the middle of the farm talking to people from all over the world.
That's nice. That's really nice. So you have an edtech startup. So I was also into an edtech field from like past 2 years. So the one thing that we really face in the edtech right now is that the world is changing rapidly. Like there was a life before ChatGPT, and there was a whole education, there was a whole skill set before ChatGPT, and now the same thing with the Vision Pro. There is a whole new field of education and study opened with the Vision Pro. So how do you incorporate these latest technologies into your edtech?
What we did already about 2 years ago was that we actually integrated our platform with Synthesia, because a lot of people have a problem they don't like to see themselves on the video. So one of the ways to do video learning is to find somebody who can actually or a way of producing the video without having yourself on the screen. So that's a really smart way of doing it. But the thing was, we've integrated with Eli and Colossian Creator as well, who are two other text to video. Right now, we're scanning into the market to see, but the problem about a lot of the technologies is that some are moving in different directions. For instance, ChatGPT has more and more things where they're actually, not answering with the correct answer. So there are things that we're kind of looking into. What is the hype to go? And I think right now, what we've decided, we'll probably add more deep search so that you can help or get help formulate the quizzes that the platform works so that you play a video and then you can add additional files and then there's a quiz after each video, and that's from a learning perspective, because the problem about how to remember things is that you see something and then you have to repeat it, and that's why we add a remembering quiz, actually, because it forces you to remember or recall what you just saw in the video, and that makes it easier. When I give you new information, it's stored in the in the work brain. And then what happens is that in order to keep or get it to move from the work brain to the short-term memory, you have to get it through your brain, activate the knowledge. And that's what we try to do with a quiz. And then at the end, there's a final test, and that final test then makes you repeat the knowledge once again, so that in a very, very simple way, you actually see the video, you practice answering the key messages, and then at the end you have the test where you again have to recall all the learnings. So it's a super light way of trying to make education, but it's relatively efficient. But generating the quiz questions would be easier if you had some ideas from AI. But the problem with the content is that very often people actually really like filming the stuff. If I have to show you how to operate how to wire something in, I mean, a mobile phone is a lot easier to record it with than by making other kinds of AI stuff. So it's somewhere in between. So I think what we will go with in the end is actually more or less integrating. So there are tons of companies out there that are doing amazing jobs with how to produce AI-based video, some text to speech, but also where you record it on your mobile phone, and then the light settings and the music and everything else is made really nice. And I think what we'll do is actually incorporate or integrate with more and more of these, so that going forward, once you have your video, then we can help you with the distribution. Because the problem is, if we integrate a video player in ours or video generation thing, then we'll be a competitor, and that is not at all what we want. We just want to make sure that knowledge is spread throughout the world easily to people.
I think that's a very smart way of giving people a chance to be an instructor who are very shy and don't want to be on the screen. So, what was the reaction of the people on that?
Well, right now we've experienced that people are really happy about the way it works. One of our customers in the US, they're called Applied Information. They make intelligent traffic light. It's a pretty awesome solution. They make this thing that they build it into the traffic lights, and when you could then come with an ambulance or a fire engine, and you use the blinking system and you turn right, then the lights further down the road knows that you're coming, and then it makes a green light. It saves approximately 60 seconds for every emergency call. They need to train people, and because of this bite-sized format, they had a customer who was so happy about it that he actually ended up seeing all of their 360 videos, just because the format was so easy to digest. And that's the thing with bite-sized video, is that or micro learning, it's easy. Skip all the extra stuff, go to the point, show what I need, and that's it. Short as possible. You don't want all the extra stuff. You can make a history lesson beside it. There might be one or two that are interested in seeing 34 minutes about who you are and what your values are and everything else. But to be honest, most people just need to know how to plug stuff in, or how to reset their password. I don't need the history of the company in order to do this. I just make it fast, make it easy.
That's nice. That's nice. So now I have a very blunt question from you. Like, you are doing an amazing work with your startup, and it's serving the purpose of the startup. So how you are balancing the business side and the purpose side of the business?
Right now, well, we're two-thirds business right now and one-third NGO of free. And right now, we still the problem about being, the problem about sustainability is that it's only sustainable if you have businesses enough to support the NGOs at the same time. And so, of course, I've used the money, parts of my money, to build the platform. But if out of money like everybody else. So we need to get businesses in to also document that the platform is actually working. Because in all honesty, quite a lot of stuff that is just given to NGOs doesn't work. So we want to prove that it is actually efficient, because then we can help the others solve the problem at the same time. So that's why we've been focusing mostly on attracting new customers. That's the biggest thing is in the sustainable one. But now we have the Erasmus Mundus is a customer. We have the FinClusive is a small startup impact company that helps the underbanked get banking accounts here in Denmark. We have Seabury, and a US organization that is helping poor illiterates in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in how to keep their children safe on the internet. Because if you can't read and write, how do you teach your kids how to be safe? And at the same time, how do you sign a house lease if you can't read? And I mean, if you're poor and illiterate at the same time, I mean, the pitfalls are huge. So that's what they try to train people in. Pittsburgh is an area in the US where people are 25% worse off compared to their demographics. They have lead in their water pipes. So quite a few of them are relatively ill already. So there are tons of problems in that area. So being able to provide them with a platform, that's an honor.
Oh, I think you
Now
are
we have
doing
the
such a
impulse for
great stuff.
women going we have Impulse for Women going out, where we'll be helping 22,000 startup females in across US, Africa, and Europe to get more trained, so we can beat the statistics. I mean, talk about inequality. I mean, the 0.9% of the venture capital in the world went to female founders, and come on, there are approximately 50% of the world population that are female founders. So
I think you are doing such a great stuff. You're really serving the purpose. So, guys, I hope you are enjoying our talk with Halta. And now, we're talking about the impact. There is a way of us about talking about like how this thing is impactful. Or that is the SDGs goals. So, your most of the startup is aligning with the SDG goal number 4, which is the quality education. So how do you think like it's according to the standards of that goal?
how the what? Sorry, once again, how the
How it's fulfilling that SDG goal number 4?
Oh, but that's easy. The whole idea is educating people about different topics in order to improve the world or save the world, protect our planet. And so, I mean, some of our customers use the platform, to increase their wealth, because if they, for instance, make software and they have software onboarding on our platform, showing small bite-sized videos with how you can get on board the software. I mean, if the onboarding works, it means that they get happy customers, and happy customers go tell the next ones that they're, join us. This company is good. I can actually make it work the way I'm supposed to. Love this. But also for customers like applied information that helps do traffic lights in cities. I'm saving 60 seconds on emergency calls. I mean, that saves lives every single time there's an emergency call, more or less. Because, I mean, if it wasn't an emergency call, 60 seconds, if you're lying crushed in a car or if your house is burning or something, that's a long time. But also we have customers using it for using our platform to distribute waste academies, in order to tell people how do you sort trash in the right way so it can be reused. So we reuse the resources of the earth. We also have other customers, they do automated batteries, but you need to in order to ensure long product life, you need to clean them every now and again. You need to make sure that they're maintained. And the problem is, if you do a white label battery, how do you actually get knowledge out to the people who buys it? Well, what they do is they add a QR code on the battery, and that means that you can scan it, and then suddenly you have an instruction about how do you move it, how do you replace it, what do you do with it afterwards, etc. So you can make small learning courses on more or less any topic. And now we're into the sector which is like education leading to sustainable practice. So it's very much all about the education. It's educating everyday life people in how do you do things correctly, because there are ways that are more sustainable that will help things being reused or ensure correct use, so that the product lives longer, but it
That's
all requires education.
That's nice. That's nice. So now my next question is like the problem that I am facing right now. Like you have two farms and still you are managing a startup, and other than that, you also have a very amazing family. So how you are managing your time, like giving time to the to your farms, giving time to your startups, and still you have time for your family. So how you are managing that thing?
I think one of the things, I don't consider this, any of it a work. I consider it all a lifestyle. So we try to integrate the whole thing. So actually, the office of uQualio is in the farm. We're 25 kilometers away from Copenhagen, so it means that but we don't have to use time in traffic. We just walk across the courtyard, and then we go over to the old pig stable that has been turned into a huge office. So that's where we sit. Then we work with a distributed organization because we need to ensure that we have the fingers, we know the trends moving around the world. And that means that we have marketing sitting in India, we have development sitting in Sri Lanka, we have our CMO as a fractional CMO. She's actually from Finland. And then we have a sales associate in the US. So we try to work with a distributed organization, which means that things can be made on the go. So right now, where we're sitting here, I'm actually on holiday. I'm in Northern Jutland on the other farm, and but I just bring my laptop with me, and then all the work we do is online. So you can have a conversation with a customer along the way, and then we've been swimming all afternoon in the local swim. So now I come home, and then now I'm doing a podcast with you. But it all integrates in, and this is the advantage of being a startup founder: is that if you plan, you can organize your work so that it fits the lifestyle you want. So we've dreamt about making something that's mass scalable, so we can reach every corner of the world, making a difference in the world. But at the same time, it needs to be from a place where where our family can grow and prosper. So that's with the farm, and we actually rent out 3 houses. So we've made sure that the people that surround us are also into horses. We have six Icelandic horses, so the kids ride, and so tons of things. But it all integrates into each other. So we try to form the world that makes sense. And that means that sometimes the kids are actually entertained by the neighbor's kid because they're riding the horses together. So and then we do a podcast in the afternoon, but it's fine. It's part of the whole weaving into each other.
Okay, nice, nice. I think these are the perks of being a startup, and I think a woman can balance things more than the men can do.
But it's also about deciding what you want to do. What we built the platform is product-led growth, and the reason why we did that is if we have to hire a huge sales team of people, it would mean that there would be a lot more management. So what we do all the time is try and find people that actually more or less organize themselves, so that we don't have. Oh, was there a lapse? Sorry. So we try to make sure that we organize around the fact that people can work independently. So I shouldn't, of course, I go over marketing's blog posts and other things, but part of that is actually automated with HubSpot. So the marketing outreach. So if you sign up for a free trial, you get a couple of emails automatically. You're asked to sign up. You can make a premium version if you want to, but it's all automated. And we have made, that's part of what we did when we started out, was saying we can never be more than 20 people in uQualio. Can never be more than 20 people, because the problem is I have a background where I used to be ex-PwC Consulting and Novo Nordisk and IBM, big companies. I've done all the time I ever need in big companies. There is so much pseudo work. There's so much sitting around discussing things, and when you eventually get to a decision, it's way too late. So we never want to go there again. Making it easy. And you know, your maximum span of control is 10 if you want to do it good. So that's why we said it can never be more than 20 people.
That's nice. That's nice. I think that's a very effective way of doing things, like doing things with a smaller number of people. I think it's easy for manage as well. And like I'm very impressed by the thing that you have your office in your farm, so you could give time to your farm and to your startup as well. I think it's 2024, and this is actually a lifestyle because everything right now our whole office is in our laptop, so we could do anything
Mm.
from anywhere, right? We are living now
Exactly,
in the
exactly.
internet.
Exactly, and it's the same. It's the same. So people look at me and they're like, "Okay, so why, you know, how do you talk?" Well, we have to be on the laptop anyhow because we can't do a demo. I can't show you how our platform works on the phone, or even if I go and show you, if I physically came to visit you to show you how our platform works, I would still need a screen to show you because it's online. So it's much easier sharing screen, and then you can follow everything I do. So why would I come visit you?
Yeah, exactly. So as I
And
told you,
the
like,
CO2, the CO2 amount that we would be spreading by going by plane would also be terrible. You know,
yeah,
internet is
exactly.
easier.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I was also into edtech, and so there is a whole kind of a edtech in Pakistan or in Indian market. You know, in Pakistan and India, the people are much big fans of Bollywood. So here is the education is also very that Bollywood style education, that how to get rich, how to do marketing, and then you will become rich. So these kind of tactics people use here to educate people. Even the local instructor use those kind of words that appeal people, that tell people like to engage with them. Like, in Pakistan and India, it's a very like myth to that you have to earn in dollars. So most of the time,
Mhm.
most of the instructors say here like, oh, you have to earn in dollars. You want to earn in dollars, let's come to my course. I will tell you digital marketing, and then you can start earning in dollars and these kind of stuff. So what style of Scandinavia is there, and how people want the education there?
What what we're seeing here is that most people, if they want to learn something, they go to YouTube, and then they find a video that's relevant. To be honest, what they do is the short ones. The ones there's quite a few of the Indian ones that we skip through because all the show stuff and all the please subscribe to me and now I'll tell you 10 minutes about who I am, blah 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 blah. It's like, please just tell me, how do I reset my password on the iPad? Could you skip all the other stuff? I mean, this is long, it's annoying, it's wasting my time. To be honest, it's a little bit rude. I just need to know how to reset my iPad, and that's what the header says on your video. So please give me this information. And I only need that 1 minute to do so. I don't need the other 50. So I think this is one of the things that the world is turning to is bite-sized microlearning. You know, actually realizing that when we were at school, learning was 45 minutes per hour. Every class, at least 45 minutes. Well, the brain doesn't remember well in 45 minutes. Actually,
Yeah.
is the span of attention is much shorter. So keep it short. Stupid, sorry. KISS. Every time you do something with learning, KISS is the main thing to remember. Keep it short, stupid. Because we are all busy.
Yeah, exactly.
Possible.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think in the old days it was a parameter to, if I had information, I was the smart one. But what we're realizing in the new paradigm is that if I share stuff with you and you share stuff with me, we can both grow. So it's not about, if I keep this information and I'm the only one who has this information, then, so we need somehow or another to bridge that and make sure that learning is shared, because that's the way for us all to grow.
Yeah.
And that's very much in the Scandinavian tradition. We realized in around 1780s or something like that, in the Renaissance, that in order to get a good population, we needed education. That the only way you can get good citizens that actually behave nice and don't fight each other and don't depend on everybody, that's by making sure they have education. And that's why that's that whole foundation for the welfare system we have where we come from, is that everybody is taught how to raise themselves, but also the entire population from below. So getting to that point where you realize that you need to share whatever good ideas you have, because you might not be the one winning that game, but on the other hand, it might be somebody else, and then you have lots of time to do something else. You can find another niche. I mean, there are tons of options out there. It's not like you just have one and then you shouldn't share it. But that's the democratic version. So that's also, and the second part of that is the hierarchy. I think you're more you're more top down than we are. So we actually have a way where we enable the user, the end user in our courses, to give feedback to the subject matter expert in the top, because it's so much easier once you've people to actually give them feedback on what they're doing, and what works and what does not work. So this is part of what we very much believe in.
That's really nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice. Thank you so much, Halta, for coming to the podcast today, and we really enjoyed the conversation. I hope our audience also liked the conversation with you. And I am part of Gen Z as well. So Gen Z always finds a cool part in every serious conversation. So now I have a very cool question for you. If we give you a chance to invite three people on your dinner table, dead or alive, who that will be?
I would invite Miss Albright. She was the one who said there's a place in hell for all the women that's not helping each other. I would definitely invite her. She's such a strong character, and the work she does is, or she did, it was amazing. Then I think I would love to have a serious discussion with Elon Musk, because I think some of the stuff that he's doing is wrong. And it would be really nice, to have a serious conversation about, democratic rights, and trying to make him understand that human beings should be more polite to each other. He's not very polite all the time, so I think he has. I'd love to have him for a discussion. And then the third one, who should that be? Uh, oh, who was the guy who wrote The Alchemist? But unfortunately, he has died. But he was a philosopher who wrote the book The Alchemist, which is about finding a combination of inner peace while still holding on to the path. I can't remember his name right now. It's coming.
Yeah, it's on my tongue as well. Like Alchemist is a very famous book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his name is um okay, I can't remember, but I would love to talk to him, because he has the thing about keeping up, following your path, and at the same time lying back, remember to go with the flow. But I would love to have some serious discussions with him. He has some really really nice thoughts.
His name is Paulo Coachella.
Yeah, exactly, Paul Coelho. Yeah, exactly. I'd love to
Yeah.
meet him. Unfortunately, he's dead, but I would have loved to have met him.
A great choice, I guess. So Elon Musk is a compulsory thing, I think, in this question. I talked to two
Yeah,
people on the podcast from different parts of the world, but everyone, most of the people say like, we would love to have Elon Musk on the table.
but that's it. But to be honest, from a democratic perspective, I definitely have some questions I would like to ask him.
Yeah. So at the end, I have a question from a listener on FM. Her name is Hajra. She said, Halta, I really love the work that you are doing, and I really wanted to be like you. So she said she's in first semester of university right now. Can you recommend her some things that she can do for the women in Pakistan?
Of course. Yeah. Well, first, it's an offer. If she has any NGO work she wants to do, reach out. We'll love to help her. Reach audiences and other things. But in order to do a startup, is find something that you think would be relevant. Because and then test it out with other people to see if there is a buying audience. Because that's actually one of the biggest problems with startups, is that sometimes people fall in love with their own ideas, but they never test whether it's sellable. And if you can't find somebody who would buy it, then at the price that it would cost you to do it, then you're already at a wrong intersection. You should pivot. You should do something different. um that's one thing. And then secondly, I would go for making a plan. Figure out, what does it take to get there? Who should I work with? Use Canva or one of the other ideas, but try and map out what would it take. And then for every timetable you do, you should at least add double or maybe 3 times as much time. So put that in your budget as well, because the easiest way to get a small fortune is to start with a big one. So it's very, very important having some kind of a budget. Things doesn't happen on their own. And then I can highly recommend teaming up with really good people. If you can find other people that can help you, can be your support, can like your post, all the stuff that shows the world who you are and what you're doing. That's some of the most important stuff. And then you have to be like the bumblebee. Sorry, the bumblebee doesn't know it can fly, so therefore it just does it. So don't use too much time on planning, because the problem is then you'll ruin your own business case from the start. It is hard work. It takes a long time, but it's super rewarding. I mean, come on, every day I sit in Denmark on my farm and I help save lives in the US. Like, how amazing is that?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Thank you so much, Halta, for coming to podcast, and thank you so much, guys, for listening to Founders Kahani today, for tuning into FM 100.4. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Halta. Stay blessed, keep progressing. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.